Meet two people. Let's call them Sarah and Mike. Sarah is 21 years old. She just started her first real job. She's not making a lot, maybe $2,000 a month after taxes. She drives a used car, splits rent with two roommates, and honestly, most months she's just trying to make it work. But somehow she manages to scrape together $6,500 and invest it. Then life happens. She gets busy, she moves cities, she has kids, and she never invests another single dollar again. Mike is 45, he's successful, senior manager at a good company, makes great money. He's been telling himself for 20 years that he'll start investing when things settle down, and now they finally have. So he sits down, opens a brokerage account, and invests $10,000. More money than Sarah ever put in. He feels good about it. Here's the question. At age 65, who has more money? Your instinct probably says Mike. He invested more. He's more experienced. He knows more about money now than Sarah did at 21. But you'd be wrong, and the reason why will completely change the way you think about money, time, and wealth for the rest of your life. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes when they think about investing. We treat money like it's frozen. Like a dollar today is just a dollar, worth exactly $1 now and forever. So naturally, we think more money in means more money out. Mike puts in $10,000. Sarah puts in $6,500. Mike puts in $10,000, but that's not how money actually works. Money is alive. It moves, it grows, and given enough time, it starts growing on itself, like a snowball rolling down a hill. A small snowball that starts at the top of a long hill will always beat a big snowball that starts halfway down. Always. That hill? That's time. And most people don't realize how steep it really is. Let's break this down simply. When you invest money in something like an index fund, which basically means you own tiny pieces of hundreds of companies at once, your money earns returns. Historically, the stock market has returned an average of around 10% per year over long periods. Now, 10% might not sound like much, but here's where it gets interesting. In year one, Sarah's $6,500 grows by 10%. Sarah's $650. Fine, nothing crazy. But now she has $7,150. Next year she earns 10 each on that. That's $715. Next year she has 7 crazy, but now she's earned returns. This is called compound interest. And Albert Einstein, whether he actually said it or not, was absolutely right when someone called it the eighth wonder of the world. Every year the number getting multiplied gets bigger, slowly at first, then faster, then shockingly fast. By the time Sarah is 65, her $6,500 that she invested once at age 21 and never touched, has grown to roughly $123,000 from one single investment. One decision she made when she was 21, barely making rent, just trying to figure life out. Now let's look at Mike. Mike invests $10,000 at age 45. That's 20 years until he's 65. Same 10% per return. His money grows to around $67,000. Sarah, $123,000. From $6,500, Mike, $67,000. From $67,000 less, and ended up with nearly twice the money. The only difference? She started 24 years earlier. Now let's go deeper. Because the math is only half the story. Why does Mike wait until 45? Why does almost everyone wait? It's not because they're lazy or stupid. It's because of how the human brain is wired. Psychologists have a name for it, present bias. It means our brains are hardwired to care about today's problems more than tomorrow's opportunities. When you're 25 and rent is due and your car needs new tires and your friend just texted about a concert this weekend, investing feels abstract, far away, unreal. But pizza tonight? That's real, that's immediate. Your brain rewards you for solving today's problem, not for quietly sending money into an account you won't touch for 40 years. This isn't a character flaw, it's biology. It kept our ancestors alive. Worry about the tiger in front of you, not the theoretical tiger that might show up next winter. But in the modern world, that same instinct quietly destroys long-term wealth. There's also something called future self-disconnection. Studies show that when people think about their future self, the version of them at 60 or 70, their brain actually treats that person like a stranger, not you, just some random old person who doesn't really feel like your problem right now. So when a 25-year-old thinks about investing for retirement, they're essentially being asked to sacrifice something real and immediate, money they could spend today, for a stranger they've never met. Of course they hesitate, but here's the reframe that changes everything. That stranger is you. And that stranger will one day wake up and either thank you deeply or quietly wish you'd made different choices in your 20s. And here's the thing about compound interest that most people never fully visualize. The majority of Sarah's wealth wasn't built in her 20s or her 30s. It was built in the last 10 years before she turned 65. That's the paradox of compounding. You do the work early, you see almost nothing for a long time, and then near the end the numbers explode. The last decade does more than the first three combined. This is why people who start late feel like they're catching up, but they almost never do, because they're missing the final explosion. Like someone who plants a tree and then cuts it down just before it starts producing fruit. Now let's talk about what this actually means for you. If you're in your late teens or 20s right now, you are sitting on the most valuable financial asset that exists. Not crypto, not the next hot stock, not a business idea. Time. Pure compounding time. Every single year you wait costs you more than you think. It's not linear, it's not, I'll just invest a bit more later to catch up. Waiting from 21 to 25, just 4 years, can cost you tens of thousands of dollars in future wealth. Sometimes more, and here's the beautiful thing. You don't need to be rich to start. Sarah didn't invest $100,000, she invested $6,500. That's a used laptop, a few months of eating out less. One international trip skipped. The number doesn't have to be massive. What has to be massive is the timeline. And if you can keep investing small amounts regularly over many years, the numbers become almost unbelievable. If Sarah had invested just $200 a month from age 21 to 65, that's it, $200 a month, less than most people spend on subscriptions and coffee, she would have accumulated over $1.5 million. From $200 a month, that's not a trick, that's just time doing its job. But what if you're not 21 anymore? What if you're reading this at 35 or 40 or older thinking, great, I missed my window. You didn't. Yes, the math is harder. Yes, you need to invest more consistently to reach the same place. But the second best time to start is always right now, because 10 years of compounding still beats 0 years of compounding. And the habits you build today, even late, change your financial trajectory permanently. The mistake isn't starting late. The mistake is letting late become never. Here's the final thought I want to leave you with. We live in a world that is constantly, brilliantly designed to separate you from your money today. Every app, every advertisement, every limited time offer is engineered to activate that present bias, to make now feel urgent and tomorrow feel distant. Wealth is built by people who learn to reverse that, who make tomorrow feel as real as today, who understand that every dollar invested at 21 is not just a dollar, it's 20 or 30 or $50 waiting patiently at the other end of the tunnel. Sarah didn't become wealthy because she was smart about the stock market. She became wealthy because she understood one simple truth at age 21. The most powerful thing money can do is sit still and grow while you get on with your life. So here's the question worth sitting with today. What decision are you putting off right now that your future self is quietly waiting on? Because the hill is right here, the snowball is in your hands, and the only thing it needs is a push. If this made something click for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to understand more about how money, psychology, and wealth actually work, you're already in the right place.